muggy Saturday night in South Florida. One team's trying to keep their season afloat while the other is searching for a playoff bid. USL Championship action continues to close out the month of August with Miami FC doing battle with Monterey Bay FC. Good evening to all, wherever you may be. With Eric Dobransky, I'm David Gascon. Thanks for joining us tonight. Eric, it's been a long time since these two teams saw each other. How long ago? Last season, Kyle Murphy on a PK got denied and watched the end-to-end rush.
And it did not lack drama. Big save by Siaha, and this sequence continues. This ball gets played forward, and the opportunistic run from Alex Dixon continues, plays this ball across, and Christian Valesky tucks away the game winner. So you go thinking you're gonna go down 1-0 to going up 1-0 and picking up 3 points.
Miami missed the playoffs by 1 point last year. Pretty fitting on that. Anyways, we turn the page to 2024, and it's pretty easy for this Miami FC squad. They need to capture 3 points, otherwise they're thinking about next season.
And started the season with such promise. 1 win, 1 draw in those first 3 matches, 2-0 win over Colorado Springs to open the season. But since their 2-1 win over San Antonio, 1 point in 17 matches.
Pretty wild. Frankie Lopez has been one of the few bright spots for this team, leads the club in goals, and he packs a punch. He's a dynamite player.
And he reads pressing cues so well, puts defenders in tough positions. His work rate and his clever nature on and off the ball make him such a threat.
Take a look at the standings and where we're at across the board. For both of these teams, it's simple for Miami, but conversely for the Western Conference foes, Monterey Bay, they're tied right now in points with Orange County. He got drubbed last week, but they're outside looking in. They got to make a move here quickly.
It's congested throughout the Western Conference, and for Monterey Bay, 3 points goes such a long way. And when you are an ambitious club, an organization, and team, you have to take full points from a Miami side that have the lowest point total in the league.
Yeah, and Jordan Stewart actually talked about that with us earlier in the week. And you got to get these points like you mentioned, and you can't mess around. You have to jump on the opposition early. Because of that, they've made some changes. Alex Dixon, one of the few guys that's regularly in the starting lineup for this club.
4 goals this season. He led the team in 12 goals last season. 1 more goal for Alex Dixon makes him the organization's all-time leader in scoring.
Should be a fantastic matchup for Monterey Bay making the trip from the West Coast. A long flight. Let's see how they fare here on a Saturday evening. Coming up on this side, we'll get you the starting 11 and first touch. It's Miami FC, Monterey Bay, coming up next.
Some people think Miami is just flamingos and palm trees.
And hell yes, we have badass sunsets.
But Miami's Little Havana,
Doral,
Little Haiti,
Hialeah,
Wynwood, Coconut Grove,
Kendall,
Calle Ocho,
Sweetwater,
Homestead,
cortaditos y coladas
empanadas y croquetas.
is so much more. This is the 305.
This is who we really are. This is what we are all about.
I am Latino.
I'm a disruptor.
I am LGBTQ.
I am a villain.
I am a mother.
I am Haitian.
I am an athlete.
I am an activist.
I am a king.
I am American Dream.
I am the future.
I am
AFC.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. That's $2,000 more than it's worth at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This broadcast is brought to you by Micromobility.com. Toyota of Hollywood, we speak your language. Hablamos tu idioma. Audi. Visit your South Florida Audi dealers today. And Baptist Health, your orthopedic care specialists. We are live now at Pitbull Stadium with Eric Dobransky. I am David Gascon on a lovely Saturday night. Eric, the stars for the home team. You shall do the honors.
Yeah, for Miami FC, it's win the battle out in the wide areas. Cardona, Metrano, how can they impact the way this game is played? Both featured 2 assists each. Winning that wide area opened up central space for Lawrence, Lopez, and Gavilanes.
On the flip side of things, we look at Antonio Nocerino's club versus the other, Jordan Stewart. Everyone up front can do some damage. The guy we're looking at in the back line, though, Anton Siaha, as you mentioned, big stop for them last year against Miami FC, trying to duplicate the performance here tonight.
And conversely, for Monterey Bay, can they take control of the tempo centrally from the start? The midfielder, Revelar, Ione, Nalati, screening passes defensively, cutting off access to areas of the field, and then flipping that into attacking opportunities.
Yeah, the one area of concern for Monterey Bay is no Tristan Traeger. You know, you look at where they're at offensively. Traeger not amongst the starters here tonight. And you feel like Alex Dixon, this is his night to perform. You mentioned double-digit goals. He's had performances in years past where he's been the guy. Trying to get off here tonight. Perfect opponent to do that against.
And I think what's going to be fascinating is these opening exchanges. Who controls the tempo early? Obviously, Monterey Bay is going to have to get used to the surface just a bit. This ball moves just a bit differently than some of the other surfaces you play within the championship.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Jordan Stewart actually said, hey, I want to get these guys into Miami Friday as fast as possible just because of the darn humidity. It's the humidity, it's the temperatures, it's the weather. It's so different coming from California to Florida. That humidity just slaps you upside the head as this contest is underway. Miami with early possession, moving from left to right on your screen. Monterey Bay, the Dart Kits, will be moving from right to left. Miami loses tonight or draws, they are out of the postseason. Hard to believe for a team that's got two wins all year long. They can still qualify for the playoffs.
And we showed highlights of last year's matchup against Monterey Bay. 1 goal difference. 10 of their losses this season have been by 1 goal. And so it's been those fine margins that have come to define Miami FC's season thus far.
So odd for a team that has played with a lot of fight, and it's one of the elements that Antonio Nocerino mentioned to us earlier in the week, is these guys continue to battle, they work hard, they have a positive mindset. It's just the execution, especially late in games.
And you hit the nail on the head right there, late in games. It seems like Miami FC, those second halves have just plagued them. They've had some of those matches where they're even, they're 0-0, 1-1, they're in those tight matchups, and then they just have a loud second half performance that opponents are able to pick up a goal or two, and now the result is flipped. So it's trying to put together that complete 90-minute performance.
Kadeem Nadie starting tonight for Miami FC. Record so far is 0-5. Goals against average at 228.
And we mentioned that the second halves for Miami FC, I mean, goals against overall, 64 goals against this season, the 24 goals scored, the 64 goals against is 22 goals more than Hartford at 40. So when you lack balance in both boxes, where, you know, 24 goals on the season is right up about average for the USL Championship. Yeah. But the 64 goals conceded, I mean, you've got to find some balance there structurally, defensively.
Frankie Lopez leads the team with 6 goals. Alan Gavilanes has 5. We've seen with other clubs throughout USL Championship, even if they can't stop a lot of people, they can at least match wits. Problem for Miami FC is they only have 2 guys that have really done any kind of damage in Lopez and Gavilanes. But if you can get someone into double-digit scoring, I feel like you probably have a puncher's chance night in and night out.
Agreed. And I think for Monterey Bay, on the flip side here, who's going to score?
Yeah.
Who's going to take control of that aspect of the game for Monterey Bay and Jordan Stewart's side? We mentioned Alex Dixon, the 4 goals, 2 goals from Revelar, but Gutierrez yet to find himself on the goal sheet, scoring sheet. Martinez, the 3 assists.
Near turnover there. Cardona fortunate enough to keep his footing. Miami FC loves to play it through the back, and they have been severely burned on many of occasions. There'll be a foul called.
And for Monterey Bay, a team that is fighting to get above that playoff line, coming off that 0-0 draw versus El Paso, as we see Gavilanes makes him so dangerous on the dribble, creativity, the explosiveness, forcing Revelar into the foul and picking up the early yellow.
Bad yellow to have in the 4th minute, too. You're stuck on that all game.
Yep, especially when you're playing Central, and as I just mentioned, when we highlighted the lineup, screening passes, disrupting play is going to be something that you have to do tonight, especially with Cabral, Gavilanes, the way that Frank Lopez and Lawrence operate centrally as well.
Siaha getting the nod here tonight. Goals against average at $142. Save percentage is solid at .752. 6-11-7 record so far for Siaha. Monterey Bay this year as a club, 7 victories on the year, 7 draws, but the 11 defeats has them tied right now with Orange County, 28 points apiece in the Western Conference. Orange County is above the playoff line. Monterey Bay on the outside looking in. Orange County does play tonight against Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is probably the sweetheart story of 2024, considering they were a basement club last year and they have just risen from the ashes.
Yeah, and that organization has done a tremendous job of making impactful moves, and moves that have put them in right in the thick of things in the West.
DA will see that in all the way. Lalti, excuse me, trying to play that through. And yeah, you look at what Las Vegas did last year to this year. Maybe that's the hope here in Miami. Could be a bottom tier team and then instant recovery the season after. Easier said than done, of course.
And going back to Monterey Bay, and you mentioned their record, it's on the road that have really cost them points, being 3-8-1 overall. And that's going to be something for them that they're going to want to remedy, especially tonight. We mentioned in the open, Miami FC featuring the lowest point total in the USL Championship. El Paso at the bottom of the West, but still holding on to 20 points. El Paso with those 5 wins, 15 losses and 5 draws. And for Miami FC, I mentioned that 3-game open. You beat Colorado Springs Switchbacks, who sit 5th in the West right now. You lose 1-0 to Sacramento Republic, who sit 2nd in the West right now. And then you draw the 3rd game as well. And so you think sitting 1-1-1, the draw being with Orange County SC. But then since then, it just, again, that's those second halves began to creep into their season and began to define where they sit right now.
Yeah, more troubling than that Orange County match. They had 2 different leads in that contest. Beat San Antonio at the end of April, and that's the last time they've captured 3 points.
And now San Antonio has gone off to have a completely different season than what we're typically used to seeing from San Antonio. They sit 2nd to last in the West, an 11th spot with 24 points.
Robinson will give it up. Martinez here, Walmer. Thought about doing something different with that placement. Otherwise, try to insert it Gutierrez. Robinson gets it back. Robinson, left-footed chip into the box. See if Aqua that was there, though. It was a pretty ambitious pass, though. He was looking for Dixon.
And this is going to be why it's important for Miami FC to win the wide areas, because you're playing a team in Monterey Bay that feature 2 outside backs in Robinson and Maury Donor that thoroughly enjoy inserting themselves in the final third and with those wide services. And if you win those wide areas, you pin those 2 players back just a bit deeper. Their starting positions cannot be as high as they are right now. They start to question the moments that they can enter the final third and those attacking sequences. But right now, off to the start that they're looking for in those wide spaces.
Ooh, Guzman had his pocket pick, but they're going to say Gavilanes with the foul. Allen not happy about it. Ball had some pretty good backspin, which gave Guzman problems. But in that instance, foul was called and had to be called, frankly. Match just underway in the 10th minute. Neither team has had a scoring opportunity as of yet. But as Eric had mentioned, the major Achilles heel for Miami FC is the goals against. League worst, 62 and counting. Knutson almost fell completely over that ball. Metrano. Cardona, sorry,
you mentioned it earlier, the absence of Tristan Traeger in this starting 11. 8 goals on the season. But when you're playing a team in Miami FC that have conceded 64 times, as we see, trying to create an attacking moment for themselves, your eyes kind of get a bit bigger. You know the opportunities are going to be there. Now it's just about executing and executing that final action.
Cabral. Gabriel been in and out of the starting lineup all year for Antonio Nocerino. Knutson peels it back to Kadim Nadie. This portion of the broadcast brought to you by Toyota of Hollywood. We speak your language, hablamos tu idioma. 11th minute, no shots for either side. 1 booking. Couple fouls, all in all, pretty quiet. Robinson, little tap pass, Martinez into the box. Robinson's twice now in those attempts. Not enough loft on either of them, but you can see the attempts. He's trying to get creative early.
And that was almost a moment where you want him to drive even deeper to that end line. Give some of his teammates a bit more time to read what space becomes available. It's typically when he is sitting in that half space above the 18-yard box, you do have players sitting in front of you there. You had nothing but space to run into.
Almost compelled to go through the traffic. But we can see in that previous sequence, Dixon trying to leak beyond the back line of Miami FC. Monterey Bay desperate to pick up points tonight. They have San Antonio on deck as well. So based on their circumstances, and you are Jordan Stewart, you have to feel extremely comfortable about the prospects of capturing 6 points quickly.
You do, and that playoff push, it begins tonight. You have to pick up 3 points at a time, and we see another foul on Revelar, who is already sitting on a yellow, and you mentioned it earlier. You pick up an early yellow like that, you're on thin ice in regards to how many more times you're going to get away with a foul like that, especially against a team in Miami FC that feature individually explosive players that can beat you on the dribble, creativity. Now another early set piece, free kick from this deeper area.
Kai Green next to Michael Lawrence amongst the starters tonight. Got a lot of congestion just outside the 18. Robinson and Knutson look like they were chirping a little bit. Cabral, decent delivery, just nobody around though. Puzzling as that sequence was. Miami in that sequence, their first set piece of the contest, and for Cabral, unable to do anything with it. Monterey Bay's last contest, a scoreless draw against El Paso. So you figure they're going to climb the ranks, and one of the things that George Stewart mentioned to us is at least they're playing against teams that are either on the outside looking in or they're still fighting for a playoff spot. So they're going to have to earn it. They're amongst the top 8 in the West.
Oh, 100%. And when you put yourself in a position, and we saw it in the standings, it is congested.
Yep.
3 points, it just changes the entire look of the standings for the West. But when you put yourself, when you're going into a weekend below the playoff line, every game, your playoffs start tonight.
Yeah.
Out of 9 games left, 9 including tonight, you just can't afford to drop points. And it's so important that they take advantage of a team that is at the bottom of the East in Miami FC. And you mentioned it, you get San Antonio next at home, and you're on the road to Las Vegas, who's right in that top 4 talk in the West. And then you're at Orange County, or you host Orange County, and then you host Detroit City.
Well, the other element too is you got to make sure you don't have any costly mistakes. Speaking of that, here comes Monterey Bay looking for Dixon. Cardona there. Cardona, surprisingly enough, started on the sidelines last week for Antonio Nocherino. It's the first time he did not start amongst the regular 11 for Miami FC all of 2024. He's back tonight. 23rd appearance, 22 starts. And Lati trying to feel that over into the right-hand side to Martinez. Martinez, Dixon on the opposite end. Everyone feels like they're a threat right now for Monterey Bay, trying to play downhill against Miami FC.
Yeah, and 16 minutes in, earning their first corner. They'll get a good look at how Miami FC want to set up tonight.
Corner kick brought to you by Audi. Visit your South Florida Audi dealers today. It's the first one of the evening for either side. Match really doesn't have a feel yet. No real rhythm. The DA. Some bodies here. Speaking of Audi, take a look at our Audi keys to the contest. Visit your South Florida Audi dealers today.
Yeah, and for Miami FC, it's going to be about converting opportunities. You don't know how many quality looks you're going to create in front of goal, but you don't need a high quantity of them. You just need that quality final action. So for them, it's going to be converting opportunities. And for Monterey Bay, it's setting the tempo. Coaches and teams have always talked about how difficult it is to come into Miami FC, whether it's the surface, whether it's the temperature, humidity, the atmosphere. So it's important that you set the tempo with your movement off the ball, the explosiveness on the ball, and we've seen it from Monterey Bay. They've asked a number of different questions here early, but now it's just sustaining that through this first 45.
Ask the questions and try to build on that any way that you can. Dixon peels this back. Donor into the corner. Pretty good possession so far for Monterey Bay on this build-up, but now they'll swing things around the pitch. Robinson was out to the left. Pass came to Dixon somehow. Dixon takes the shot, easy to manage for Nadia. No rebound.
And you've seen sustained possession from Monterey Bay, and that's what you're going to see from Miami FC is the absorption of that pressure, getting numbers behind the ball, and then attacks like this where you get Gamelanias, Frank Lopez, Michael Lawrence, and then the ability to join others and include others in this final action.
Into the box, a pretty decent header. Frankly, I don't know how Michael Lawrence is even to get that near target, but not a lot of velocity on it. See this delivery, as you mentioned,
Lawrence having to come back for this ball. Still making contact, but unable to put anything dangerous on Anthony Siaha.
Martinez, Robinson, and Naughty takes a shot. The thing never had a chance. Now Lati there. Don't know if his ideal shot was coming from outside of that mark, but there was nobody around to even pick up a rebound.
Yeah, that's going to be something to watch throughout this match from players individually and also collectively. This is a match that has the feel of the first goal
is the winning goal,
or the first goal is really going to determine a lot and come to define a lot of different moments that follow. And I think that's why for Monterey Bay, can you put the foot on the gas and continue? You've seen a lot of good movement, a lot of good interchange from Jordan Stewart's side. And for Miami FC, we've talked about their record, and in this game, if they lose or draw, they're eliminated from the playoffs. So this is a team that battles. They're gonna fight every minute to be in contention, and if they score the first goal, does that change the approach for Monterey Bay? Does that add the stress of now not upgrading opportunities and settling for chances outside the box?
Rebelar here, outside to Kai Green. Green has started every match so far this season for Monterey Bay. Staple for them, the middle of the park. Monterey Bay needing a win just to put a little bit of pressure on Orange County. Get them right back above the playoff line until Orange County plays later on tonight. Robinson with some real estate, tries to glide this through. He does somehow. Martinez on it now. Dixon. This ball goes to no man's land. That'll be picked up by Metrano easily.
And you bring up a great point, because we talked about Monterey Bay and these 9 games remaining. You want those teams above you to feel the pressure that you're putting on them. You mentioned Orange County. FC Tulsa is another team in the West that they would put pressure on. So you make that race even tighter towards the end, because if you drop points, it might change tactically what teams do, because now multiple results become in play. You know, you drop points, say to Miami FC tonight, whether it's drawing or losing. Now you put other teams above you in chances where maybe a draw is sufficient enough on the night, or a draw moves them forward. You mentioned last year Miami FC missing the playoff line by 1 point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how close, and the fine margins that define the USL Championship.
Cabral took a swipe to his face. I don't know if he was embellishing. We'll get a better look on the replay on this, though. Ione is looking back, and he gets yellow in the 22nd minute.
Now that's 2 central midfielders that are sitting on yellow cards.
I don't know about that. Gabriel Cabral did a pretty good job.
Yeah, there wasn't much there.
Yeah. It's great acting.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you have your back turned to the official, then you can embellish a little bit and it'll pay off.
This is always when the 4th official gets an earful, as you can kind of hear.
Yeah. Got to help him out. Got to help him out.
Never envy that that position.
No, not at all. So as Eric mentioned, 2 with bookings here in the first half for Monterey Bay. Nothing for Miami FC yet. Far side, and that ball traveling out of bounds. Matron not having a wherewithal where he was at on that boundary. It's an interesting first half, just because there's not there hasn't been a real identity that's been provided yet by either side.
Yeah, neither side have created a clear-cut opportunity, a chance in front of goal. We've seen a lot of possession in favor of Monterey Bay in and around the 18, but nothing that is challenged.
How about this for a shot? Gavilanes, Siaha with a nice stop, going from right to left.
And that is how quickly Miami FC and Michael Lawrence can flip the switch. I mean, you absorb pressure, you sit back, you're almost playing on your back foot, and then 3 passes, and Michael Lawrence puts it on his right foot and makes Siaha make a big save going to his left.
Michael did not start with the club at the beginning of the year, came on as a mid-year acquisition, like many of these players for Miami FC. Let it rip there. Gavilanes on the corner. The header didn't have a lot of sauce on it, though. Barbier able to elevate, but now he has to sprint back badly. Transition game here for Monterey Bay. Revelar just inside to the right. Cross, nobody around. Martinez trying to wait for it to come down. Took too long.
And that's where Monterey Bay has lacked, is the quality in some of those wide services. They've gotten themselves in positive scenarios, positive situations, but have either not been able to manipulate time and space enough to get numbers in, or just the quality execution on that service.
On the counter, no numbers though for Miami. Gavilanes here. Allen to Lopez, Frankie. Good spot for him to take a shot. Hits 2 bodies and stays away. Kai Green was the one that got in front of it.
And after that Michael Lawrence opportunity, you just saw that from Frank Lopez. But this is going to be something that Jordan Stewart and his side have talked about going into this match. The longer that you let Miami FC continue to build into this game, the more momentum that they're going to take and the more rhythm that they're going to get into. And yes, they're going to get behind the ball. They're going to absorb the pressure. They're going to let you have the possession numbers and the percentages. But they've shown how quickly and how positively they can play out of pressure.
Yeah, they have some guys that can counter. That was the one thing that Jordan Stewart was worried about. Not their ability to possess more than Monterey Bay, but simply to counter when they seize the opportunity. Lawrence with a good strike, and then Barbier's header. Stopped by Siaha. 27th minute. We'll have first half stats and highlights, some news and notes at the end of the 45 minutes of play. Take that break.
And for Monterey Bay, it's trying to negate a counterattack when you have such quality numbers in the final third. You're going to naturally climb the field. You're going to naturally find yourself.
Dixon shot blocked by Knutson to Zart.
In those higher spaces, and then it leaves this space for Gavilanes to operate, leaves space for Michael Lawrence to get on the ball. So rest defense is going to be very important for Jordan Stewart and his side.
Lawrence could not hold it, try to split 2 players. Couldn't pull it off. Now Lazzi was the one taken out. I feel like the entire bench for Monterey Bay is asking for a yellow card now.
Yeah. They've seen their team take on 2 yellows here early. They want the same from this foul here on Michael Lawrence.
For the first time in quite a while, it does feel like Miami FC has played a comfortable first half.
They have, and this has almost been the storyline of their season. Quality starts, but to your point, this has been a very complete 28 minutes for Miami FC. They've kept Monterey Bay in and around the 18-yard box, have not given up anything behind the ball, behind that back line. They've forced shots from distance, poor crosses, they've influenced services, and then on the attacking side. Had that quality strike from Michael Lawrence, but other than that, they've started to gel and started to find a footing there in some of the counter-attacking moments, such like this.
On the turn, Lopez, Lawrence. Michael did not attack, and that allowed everyone, the Dark Kids from Monterey Bay, to counter, retrieve, and intercept. Dixon trying to go on a run here. Martinez is out wide to the left. Dixon, 1-on-3, just looking for some help. Robinson will jump up into the play. Alati, Dixon here. So neither team playing with a heightened sense of urgency when they've gone on the attack. 30th minute. Robinson, don't know where that's going.
And that's what Miami FC has forced Monterey Bay into. And I was just about to say, a lot of it's coming from the work of Desart and Cabral. They're shadowing and they're screening passes into some of those attacking presences of Monterey Bay and doing a good job of staying connected with their back line. And as this continues, do you see Monterey Bay get frustrated and then you settle for a shot like that from Grant Robinson?
Cardona's long ball. Not play with too much power. Lawrence, though, on a giveaway, will gladly retrieve it. Oddly enough, it looked like Ione just pulled up lame on the play. Let's see what Miami does here. Molina was out wide by his lonesome. Matrano with some real estate takes a half-hearted shot. Goes wide. Eric, if we didn't have a scoreboard here with a timer, you might almost think that this match is like closer to the 80th minute as opposed to the 32nd or 33rd.
It is, because you used a great term earlier. It just lacks urgency.
Yeah.
It just lacks that change of tempo and that change of pace by either side. I mean, we've talked about some of the success that Miami FC has had in those counter-attacking looks, but really only attacking with 3 players.
Yeah.
And then for Monterey Bay, they've had success having possession, but it's really been side to side, no forward progress once they hit the final third. So that's something that Jordan Stewart's going to want to see from his side, is being able to flip the switch and pick up the tempo. When you lack space, things have to happen quicker.
Molina tries to push it out wide. Green with a nice intercept, though. Kai not going to be fooled on that at all. Dixon here on the approach. Dixon wants to get it back, not creating any space, though. Rebelar, now Lati with a shot. That one almost found the mark. Keep in mind, Kadima Dia, 6'7", so.
This is a better moment from Monterey Bay, but going back to that interception by Kai Green, it's going to become predictable for Miami FC. When you just have 3 runners all making vertical runs, you're going to be able to step in and pick up some of those passes, and then it leads to a good opportunity for your side. And Lati putting that to the right of goal frame, but that's going to be something for Monterey Bay that, if for Miami FC is going to continue to play some of these vertical passes, it's going to leave them opportunities to go forward quickly.
Lopez. Gavilanes nearly offside. Lopez just could not settle it. Might pick up a foul, and he does.
And going back to the thought of that first goal influencing the result, you know, the old saying of goals change games.
Yeah.
You just have 2 teams that are in different spaces right now. If Monterey Bay picks up the first goal, you have a Miami FC side that have experienced 21 losses. I mean, you just have a sense that it would just kind of maybe put a bit of a sputter to the influence that they have going forward and their belief in scoring a goal. And then for Miami FC, if you're the one that scores the first goal, the stress that it puts on a Monterey Bay side that has ambitions of making the playoff, because not only do you go, now I have to find the equalizer, you almost jump ahead and go, now I've got to find 2 goals.
Yeah.
Because you need to pick up 3 points.
Yep, it's true. And I guess in that instance, it feels like that's part of the reason why Monterey's played a bit careful tonight so far.
That's fair. Yep. Yeah, that's a great point. It's almost that they have the commitment to the attack, but it's still there to absorb some of these moments as well.
Molina here with a left foot, hit a body, bounces to Siaha. But yeah, more to your point, Eric, when you let a team linger around, your ability to deliver a knockout punch starts to become weaker and weaker. Monterey Bay coming into this contest, I've only scored 24 goals in the year, so Traeger, who's not amongst the starters and as Jordan Stewart had mentioned is banged up, leads the team with 8 goals. Dixon behind him in second, but he only has 4. So where is the fire amongst the attacking third players? That's the question mark. But again, lack of offense one way, but a lack of defense on the other with Miami. So it's that yin and yang action.
Yeah. And for Monterey Bay, is it going to be a free kick opportunity? Is it going to be coming from a corner? These wide services, counterattacking. I know what's difficult right now is when Miami FC is able to get in this shape and get these amount of players behind the ball, you're almost having to recreate moments after moments.
Yeah. And in turn, got to imagine it is frustrating just to break that back line. If you're Monterey Bay, trying to find an open lane or a window for a pass or a shot.
Yeah, that's why if you score that first goal, now Miami FC's got to open up just a bit more. They've got to find that time, because we mentioned it, with a loss or a draw, Miami FC's playoff hopes are shut.
Dixon top of the box. Gutierrez with some speed. Good pace. Nadia with a great stop. First quality bid of the night for Monterey Bay. No dice.
What a stop by Nadia, coming up big, keeping this game at 0-0. And this is what this game might need, is for Gutierrez and Monterey Bay to break this Miami FC down on the team down on the dribble. But Nadia coming up massive there. The big save.
Another corner kick brought to you by Audi. Visit your South Florida Audi dealers today. Martinez will take this one. Dixon previously. Martinez rather weak on that. They didn't have any pace or any idea of where it was really going. Knutson, he's well out of positioning, but doesn't matter in this sequence. Lopez with some real estate. Frankie trying to open things up once. How about a second one? Oh, he just missed.
And we showed last year's result that was a Siaha save and a Christian Valesky goal. This obviously defined differently throughout the sequences, but huge save by Nadia, and then the corner, and then this counterattacking moment. Frank Lopez almost gets 2 opportunities at that and just pushes that last opportunity just wide, and now we see him laboring a bit.
Frankie's been banged up all year. To his credit, he plays bigger than he looks.
He does. He plays with a lot of power, a lot of strength, and a lot of physicality. Puts himself in spaces that maybe a lot of forwards and attacking players don't want to go, but
you have to do it, and you have to grind, and got to imagine that's at least great for training purposes. Nice move by Gutierrez. Sharp angle for him to create, and a DA with a good stop there. The rebound, a takeout. See if there's yellow coming in this instance, because Lawrence is down the ground. It's a third yellow card, and it sees yellow. Who was that on? Is that Rebelar? It's got to be the case. Unbelievable. In that situation, you're looking at a couple guys.
And it looks like it's Ione. And it's really just trying to make a play on the ball, but when you're playing on the early yellow that we mentioned a number of times, let's see who it is.
Yeah, Ione.
Yeah, it's Ione, and you're just trying to make a play on the ball. You see the ball in the 18-yard box, and since you're already on that yellow, wow, what a shift in this game. And you talk about already the trend of it being 0-0 and giving a team like Miami FC the belief that they can go forward and they can get that early goal. Now, your player up, you have to imagine the frustration that is coursing through the Monterey Bay FC players. As we see Ione making his way to the locker room.
Just a reckless play.
Yeah.
I guess the question for you, Eric, is if he wasn't playing on a yellow, would that still be deemed as red?
That's a great question. I don't think so. I think that would just be a play on the ball. It is reckless, but I think it would be probably just a yellow. But it's just, it goes back to the fact of those early sequences, those initial moments, and both the yellow from Rebelar and the yellow from Ione coming in. I think you said it earlier when it actually happened. It was kind of a needless foul.
Yeah.
You had good numbers behind the ball. You didn't need to hold up Cabral. You didn't need to hold up Gavilanes in those moments. And then you're playing with the early yellow, and now your team's playing a player down.
I'm attorney Julian Rudolph. I founded JR Law in 2017, and since then, I've recovered millions of dollars for my injured clients. If you've been injured, I'll handle your case personally from start to finish. Call me today at 877-GET-JR-LAW.
Antonio Nocerino talking to his troops. Eric, these opportunities for Miami FC have been, I don't want to say far and few, but they have been as rare as a Haley's Comet this season.
Yeah, and it coming right before the halftime break as we see the clever move by Gutierrez to get around his defender, and then just havoc around the box, and Michael Lawrence having the clear opportunity to get on this ball, and then Ione just coming around. And
I see.
I
hate doing it, but I feel like pushing back on you on that, because I don't feel like that's a play on the ball.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think looking at it from that angle and looking at it again, I think it would warrant maybe a straight red in that regard, because you're missing ball completely. You're at a full swing and just very reckless.
But you know this as a player and coach, time, match, situation.
Yep.
I mean, you're not even close to your own net.
No, agreed. And for Miami FC, they already feature a three-back system where they have those wing backs. They have those players that their starting positions are higher.
Yeah.
So not too much of an adjustment in regards to now being a player up. But now you get it before the halftime break, so you get a good look at it for 5 or so minutes here before the halftime break. And then Antonio Nocerino and his team can discuss what they see, what they want to do with now Ione being removed from the game and Monterey Bay being down to 10 players.
And for all intents and purposes, Miami is going to have a fresh 45 minutes to work. with that player advantage.
And conversely, Jordan Stewart's going to have the same thing. You know, sometimes when it happens early in a second half, or even, you know, with 30 minutes left, 25 minutes, you're unable to gather your players and have that dialogue and that collaboration of how you're going to problem solve in real time.
Yeah.
You just have to hope that all your preparations within training, man up, man down situations are true to form, and that structure is there. But now it is, you know, you never want to pick up a first half red card, but you do now have the break coming up where you can make some adjustments, how you want to defend, how you want to attack for Monterey Bay.
Gavilanes lets it rip. That one grabs some woodwork. Great shot from Gavilanes. Siaha, guess he would say that's all he gave him. And a needless shot that goes near Siaha, and he'll gobble it up. Oh, Alan Gavilanes searching for his 6th goal this season, and he just missed picking the corner.
Gets his head up in this vicious left-footed strike. So close to finding the back of the net. And talk about the belief for Miami FC, not even just staying at 0-0, but now being the player up. But now you've had 3 quality looks from Frankie Lopez, Gavilanes, and Lawrence.
Dixon trying to make a move. Molina, I think, was trying to bank it off of him. 3 minutes of stoppage time here in the opening half. Alan Gavilanes, he's searching for a goal, and ever so close. Monterey Bay in no need to speed this thing up.
And this is what you want to be careful of for Miami FC, is conceding corners, free kicks, because this is going to be the opportunity for Monterey Bay to collectively throw numbers and cause havoc.
Dixon, pretty good ball. Cardona there, fighting with Kai Green, and Green gave it away. Right idea to play it off of Cardona, just didn't work. Matrano trying to switch the pitch, he does, but Lopez can't retrieve it. Molina is there. Lawrence is wide open, he has it now. Lawrence, bad ball. Monterey Bay will not do a lot of chasing here. Just covering areas and trying to close the gap. Cardona. Lots of ground though. Plenty of real estate for Cabral here. Lawrence, dangerous pass though. That's an area of concern just given where that circumstance occurred. Lawrence picks up yellow here. Yeah, I think in this element, Eric, if you're Gabriel Cabral, you probably got to take this shot instead of passing it.
Yeah, and that's where you thought that was going to be the action for Cabral, but you're feeding into the momentum that Lawrence is playing with, this front 3, Lopez and Gavilanes, and instead of being proactive in that sequence where it's just take it yourself, you're looking to thread the needle and put it in a tight area. And that's going to be the balance that Miami FC is going to have to look for playing a player up, is when to pass, when to shoot, when not to settle, when to upgrade. And I think that's going to be the ongoing battle for them in those final third actions.
Final moments of this opening half. Miami playing up a player for the rest of this contest, assuming Michael Lawrence doesn't pick up another yellow, or nobody else from Miami FC sees red. Stranger things have happened. Molina, final seconds here. Molina into the box. Oh, plenty of curve there, but Gavilanes probably a hair or two off the mark. And the opening half will come to a close. Plenty of excitement there for Miami FC Antonio Nocerino. Alan Gavilanes sprung one off the right goal post. Hit that thing flush, but unfortunate for him, it carries out. 45 minutes in the books and we're scoreless.
And both these teams going into the halftime break having to make some decisions. Now Monterey Bay playing the player down. Miami FC now featured a player up. How do they take this momentum and bring it into the second half? Because they absorbed a lot of pressure to start that first half. Picked and chose good moments to go forward. And Monterey Bay, how do you find that one opportunity you need?
Shots in the opening half, 9-6 in favor of Miami FC on target. Each of them had 2 apiece. Monterey had the early possession, 56-44. Coming up on the other side, we'll get you some stats, we'll get you some highlights, and some USL Championship news. 45 minutes done here, Monterey Bay, Miami, scoreless draw.
Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. That's $2,000 more than it's worth at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Back here at Pitbull Stadium, Miami FC, Monterey Bay, scoreless at the end of 45 minutes of play. The youngsters, the older, you're all alike, enjoying this one. Hope you are as well. All kinds of stuff coming up on tap, but right now, USL Championship goals, saves of the week, and all that and a lot more. Fellas, take it away.
Game has been played centrally.
Duncan drives one across, headed away only as deep as Armenakis. Armenakis bends it, oh my! Panos Armenakis, a stunner. And there is that Memphis 901 lethal attack.
In behind, has to wait up for that ball. Armstrong overran it. It's off. Margarita. Margarita, right foot. Knocked down. McGuire. Knocked down again. A double save from McGuire. What a moment of brilliance from the keeper.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
This is the beginning. This is a first practice, a first video session, a first pregame talk. This is a first ticket, a first scarf raise, a first kickoff. This is a tapestry of clubs and players and communities inspired by those who blazed the trail for women's sports, ready to inspire the next generation. We are the USL Super League. We're part of a movement, and this is our moment.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
The numbers are brilliant here for Phoenix. Can they find their second right there? Drops it to Lasso. Lasso gives it a go. What is the Lasso?
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it. No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Back here at Pitbull Stadium, Monterey Bay, Miami FC scoreless at the end of the first half. Eric Dobronsky, I'm David Gascon, hanging out with you on a Saturday night. Eric, you got moves like that or no?
No, I don't have that in my toolbox.
Not even with like a shot of tequila or two? No chance? All right. We'll go to do some news and notes of USL Championship. Nick Mercanic, I don't know what else you can say about him. He is an absolute monster this year.
Yeah, I mean, and he went through that slight, and I mean slight lull towards the middle part of going into the middle portion of the season, and he's on fire now. And then the U.S. Open Cup, obviously Indy 11 fell to Sporting KC. And Bob Lilly, I mean, Pittsburgh Riverhounds just continue to be a force to reckon with in the East. They're below the playoff line this year, but they were the Players' Shield winners last year.
Yeah, congratulations to Bob Lilly. 400 career wins. That's a lot of work. Take a look at Miami's upcoming schedule, what is on tap for them. They'll be on the road for their next 4 of 5. We'll have Hartford here in a couple of weeks. Everything else, though, is away from Miami, and so you figure if you're going to try to find a victory, I don't know where it comes from, but it's not going to get easy with New Mexico on the horizon.
Agreed, and yeah, New Mexico United, so difficult to get results at the lab against that side, and then Hartford Athletic are going to be in the same position in terms of fighting for their playoff lives. Then Birmingham above the playoff line, Indy 11 above the playoff line, and then Lou City leading the Eastern Conference.
It's my favorite, Indy 11 to win it all.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, they had
my dark horse.
Yeah, they had a tremendous run of form midseason, and obviously that tight Open Cup loss to Sporting KC.
Yeah, should be fun down the stretch. We'll get you some highlights and some stats right around the corner as it is right now. Match is scoreless after end of 45.
Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. That's $2,000 more than it's worth at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Young, hungry, determined, no icons, products of our environment, predators. This is our moment. We are Miami FC.
This match is brought to you by micromobility.com. Toyota of Hollywood, we speak your language. Hablamos tu idioma. Audi is your South Florida Audi dealers today. And Baptist Health, your orthopedic care specialists. First half is in the books. Got 45 minutes to go, but we got some stats, we got some highlights, we got all kinds of stuff to show you as well. Miami FC going to play the second half, up one player. Eric, the opening 45 minutes of play, rather ho-hum, but we had some interesting moments.
We did, and for Monterey Bay, dominant on the ball as they own the possession numbers, but that does not always tell you the full story as you see this strike from Michael Lawrence. And that was almost the beginning for Miami FC in terms of the opportunities they've created. The 7 shots, the 2 on target. But this has been the story for Monterey Bay, is the work in and around the box and just not equating to a final action and a clear-cut opportunity. And then Gutierrez has been quietly dangerous in this match. He had the play at the end line, driving, and then he had this on the dribble, forcing Ndiaye into a difficult save. But this is the moment that we're going to see if this defines the result overall. The save by Ndiaye, and then the reckless challenge here by Ione. And we talked about it in the first half, even if he was only on a yellow, or not on a yellow, we both finally agree. Yeah. I initially said maybe, but picking up the red card and now a player down, and then Gavilanes, that vicious left-footed strike, good turn, hitting the inside of the post there. So can Miami FC take the momentum that they had towards the end of this first half and translate it into the second?
Numbers, what we got, what they tell you. Shots favoring Miami, possession favoring Monterey Bay. All in all, Miami FC has to feel comfortable now, up a player. Question is now, can they capitalize?
Yeah, and another stat for Monterey Bay is 37 final third entries in that first half, 18 final third entries for Miami FC. Does that stat get flipped? But touches in opposition box was pretty much equal for both sides.
If you're Jordan Stewart, then what kind of adjustments would you make here in the half?
Yeah, I mean, I think for a team for Monterey Bay that enjoys time on the ball and that possession and this expansive brand, I think you just adjust a few things. Obviously, you're going to have to drop a player from that front line and occupy some different space, but capitalizing on the opportunities that you create, and they're going to want to upgrade some of the chances that they created in that first half.
Well, if you're Antonio Nocerino, what do you do?
Now you could start, we talked about that 3-back that they feature, so they're going to have those starting positions out. Now you can play a bit more risky. You can stay higher up. Now you don't have to track back in some of those moments because you have that player advantage. So for Miami FC, you're going to have an extra player for an outlet, which they already showcased how dangerous they can be in transition. Now with that additional player, you might have some more space to expose.
If you're in this instance for Monterey Bay, are you inclined to go for a goal, or do you feel like you need to get 1 point?
That's a great question, because for a team for Monterey Bay that we talked about in the open, 3 points is almost what they need to do with 9 games remaining, especially with the Miami FC team that sit at bottom of the USL Championship in overall points. I mean, you probably at this point, you could survive with 1 point and say, hey, at least, we traveled to the East Coast, we got a point, we were a player down, and you picked up positive points and put yourself in the conversation. But you're going to be disappointed if you can't make at least one final push to create something in front of goal.
Yeah, it's an interesting element because it's either a do or die moment. But conversely for Miami, I almost feel like even if you conceded a goal, you're going to be okay. I know that sounds weird to say, but if you're up a player, I feel like this should be their moment to not only try to score multiple goals, but try to derail the season for Monterey Bay.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about in the first half, was that first goal, does the other opponent look at, now we have to score 2 goals just to pick up 3 points, and in a game that has not featured a lot of clear-cut opportunities, 3 of the best chances coming from that player right there, Michael Lawrence, and then Gavilanes, and then Frankie Lopez as well. Nothing for Monterey Bay other than Gutierrez, the save that Ndiaye had to make on that drive and dribble from Gutierrez in that first half.
Yeah, it's a great point. So for Monterey Bay, flip-flopping sides, moving from left to right, they're doing so down a player. Ione had a yellow card in the 22nd minute, then saw red in the 40th. His night is over with. Monterey Bay, as of now, is a point above Orange County in the Western Conference standings, but Orange County plays tonight against Las Vegas.
And let's see what kind of shape Jordan Stewart's side feature, because you already see it right now. Nalati and Revelar working in tandem there in the midfield, so as a two midfield set. So do you just put it on your back line that, hey, in moments, one of these two center backs, Kai Green or Guzman, have to step into that midfield and be that disruptive force? And those are two veteran center backs that are terrific at the timing and the understanding, the tactical awareness of some of those attacking sequences of opponents. So you might be able to get away with keeping a lot of the overall ideas and structure, even being a player down. You see Martinez dropping a bit more than the first half, but not by much.
Question for Miami in the second half: how patient can they play, and how effective can they move the ball down the field?
It's going to be, great point, it's going to be almost the similar questions that we made for Monterey Bay in that first half, where can you find that balance between having the ball but also being urgent in some of those areas that you have good numbers, you have collective movement in the final third. And that's where Monterey Bay sputtered out in the first half. They created those moments, but they just never changed the tempo.
Chip by Cardona, looking in for Lopez, a little too high. Metrano here, this will be a corner kick. Yeah, Miami FC has never been in this spot all year. And what I mean by that is up a player, having the advantage, and they'll control possession for the rest of this contest.
And even though Miami FC, their playoff hopes are very slim.
Yeah.
I mean, these are professionals. They want to end this season on a positive note and early.
Cabral, the header. Siaha, the first stop. The second one finds some twine. Siaha's not happy about it. Frankie Lopez will take credit in the 48th minute. Miami FC on the board, 1-0.
And it just showcases the positive start that Miami FC had played with. What a terrific win there by Knutson on that delivery. And then that opportunistic nature of Miami FC, Cardona getting a touch on it here, affecting the ability of Siaha to get a clean grasp of it. And Frank Lopez just being that striker, that attacking minded player that he is. 7th goal of the season, just waiting for that moment to pounce, putting his team up 1-0.
That goal by Frankie Lopez, brought to you by micromobility.com. Good delivery into the box, and a great job by Cardona on the weak side to continue to pursue that play. Knutson obviously setting it up with the header, but Cardona on the right side with a chip, and then Lopez sealing the deal. So there's one.
Now with that goal coming so early, what does this do to Monterey Bay? Where do you push the?
Hey, you're the analyst. I'm going to be asking you these questions, Eric.
Because, you know, I briefly spoke about it in the first half, was when you have that red card kind of in the middle of a second half, or where you can't gather everybody together and make some decisions. Now it's the same thing. I mean, I guarantee you're not at halftime talking about if you concede a goal within the first 3 minutes. This is the new game plan. But with that said, now I think 1 point is in play for Monterey Bay in terms of now you've got to push to just get the equalizer. And if you get one with enough time, then you can go ahead and push for the second. But now picking up 1 point would be a massive victory over picking up 0.
Lawrence was called in that foul. He has to be careful. He's on yellow tonight. He picked up a yellow late in the first half. Yeah, that's the other thing that jumps up into this. I would not be surprised if this match gets evened up on, on players, if we see 10v10.
Yeah. It's been transitional enough that it is required some, not required, it's featured some reckless and some careless challenges from both sides that you're 100% right. We could see another change and another momentum shift if neither side are careful in some of these challenges.
It's a bad turnover here. Lopez one way, Lawrence on the right-hand side. Frankie, nice move by Frank. One pivot, unselfish ball, left-footed strike potentially coming, blocked on the way through. Gavilanes took his sweet time with it. Cabral, Lawrence bodied off. There was contact, plenty of it there. No whistle, no call, we play on.
Yeah, it looked like that ball hopped up on Maury Donor and almost caught him in that right hand, and I think that's where Miami FC are having the argument. Another turnover here.
Desart will jump up in the play. Desart has a lane, takes a shot! Oh, he just missed that right bar. A slow roller that beats Siaha, but not on target.
You could see Desart looking to be more clinical in that area than putting pace on it, and you saw he almost beat Siaha with that pace and the shape he had, the texture he had on that ball. But that coming off poor turnover for Monterey Bay, giving Miami FC another opportunity at a corner kick here and having to feel the momentum and the opportunity to possibly gather another goal.
Before that occurs, Guzman saying he got hit in the mouth. Knutson smiling at him.
Yeah, Knutson is going to be the player that Monterey Bay is going to have to keep track of. He was the one making first contact on the first corner that resulted in the Miami FC goal.
Line drive delivery by Gavilanes. Try to sneak that in short side. I get it, but you get a 2-0 advantage over Monterey Bay. You really want to drive a stake through their heart.
Yeah, and from that first one being havoc in front of the box, the winning first contact, and then having the numbers there in and around Siaha, you just don't give your team a chance in that moment where you try to sneak it in your post.
Wow, there's contact there inside the 18. My goodness. Knutson has to be careful.
And that goes back to your point, is some of the challenges that this game has featured. Got to be careful. You know, put the referee in a moment where he's got to make a decision. It looks like he's going to have a conversation with the coaching staff.
So yellow card coming to Antonio Nocerino.
Here, what Gutierrez did so well in the first half, that drive and dribble, making sure there's contact there, and that's going to be something for Monterey Bay. Can they earn themselves something dangerous, whether it's inside the box for a penalty kick or right outside where they can go directly on frame?
So Frankie Lopez, his 7th goal of the season, has opened up the second half with a goal for Miami, and now Monterey Bay down a player, trying to equalize. Donor. Rebellier, who's also playing on a yellow. Picked his up in the 4th minute. Guzman out wide. Cabral had gotten a piece of it. Desart sprung loose. Lopez hustling Oh, there's plenty of contact there. That's not a 50-50 situation. And Guzman embellishing quite a bit, along with Maury Donor. Donor is the one that's down. Lopez had a pretty good run on it, and in fact, he had a step on Donor.
And you could see him taking a peek right here, getting a view of where Maury Donor was and trying to put his body between Donor and the ball, picking up the foul instead. And just going back to your point, this is not a game that has showcased a lot of malicious fouls. They've just been kind of reckless and careless plays on the ball. So, you know, again, having to be careful.
Give and go only works if the other player goes.
Yeah, and those are going to be sequences for Monterey Bay that you do not want to have grow into frustration, because you still have plenty of time to get yourself back in this match. But you almost saw glimpses of it in the first half where some of the combination play, some of the link-up play in the final third just didn't go off, and you could see some of the frustration of the players individually, and you just don't want to see it when you have so much in front of you to play for. The hill to climb for Miami FC to get in the playoffs is a lot steeper than Monterey Bay. So for Monterey Bay, they've got to prove that they can handle situations like this, and you have to earn a playoff spot.
Sure. Martinez can't squeeze that past Matrano. Alejandro, good job navigating some traffic. Increased sense of urgency now for Monterey Bay. Down a goal, seeing the clock. The playoff line is below them. 3-on-2. Lopez outside, Gavilanes open lane. Siaha comes out and closes the gap.
And that is a massive intervention from Siaha as we see him come up holding that left elbow. What a play in here, and then putting Gavilanes in. Looks to get that last touch, but just a bit too late. And Siaha read it so well, coming off his line, making it difficult for Gavilanes to clip this over Siaha. And if Monterey Bay is able to find an equalizer, you're going to look at this moment as one of those game-changing moments that kept this game at 1-0.
6'5" and 218 pounds of Siaha. Needed all of that to disrupt Gavilanes and making it 2-0.
So we've seen it now the last few minutes. Monterey Bay has gotten back on the ball a bit more. They've gotten good collective numbers in that attacking half, but they have left themselves susceptible to these counterattacks. The one that we saw played into Frankie Lopez that led to that foul earlier on, but now that break for Gavilanes.
Matrano takes the shot, man. That thing wasn't even close. 15 feet off the mark.
Just never got a new look at where Frame was, and you can hear the frustration of Antonio Nocerino.
Not masking it.
I guess at this point, as long as it's not directed to the referee, he'll stay involved in the match as he's sitting on a yellow card as well.
Couple changes for Monterey Bay on tap. Dixon trying to spin loose of Canuts and no dice. Moby Fair. Changes are necessary for Jordan Stewart. Unfortunate thing is Alex Dixon's night is over with. Michael Gonzalez also coming into the contest. Gonzalez has only scored 1 goal this year, Fair 3 of them. So again, there's just not a lot of juice for Monterey Bay tonight.
Yeah, and Alex Dixon was not able to get involved as much offensively as typical for Alex Dixon. And he's a player that finds ways to influence the match regardless of what kind of style of game it is. So you bring on Michael Gonzalez, maybe give Miami FC a different look, and then for Moby Fair, controlling the tempo, playmaking. And then you bring off Rebelar, who's playing on that yellow as well.
Jordan Stewart upset about this. Kadim Nadia came out.
Early influence and impact from Gonzalez, and they're looking for that. Foul on Nadia, but nothing given from the referee. A lot of that is predicated on where that touch was leading to, and that was finding itself well past the end line.
Lawrence, good body positioning. I just feel like something else is going to happen here.
Yeah, plenty of time, and you know, if you're Miami FC, you're going to get a lot thrown at you for Monterey Bay, and it might not be in a flurry or a 5-minute span, but there is no question that there is time remaining for Monterey Bay to create that opportunity that they want to and create that final sequence, that chance in front of goal. So for Miami FC, throughout this entire season, can you manage this match?
Yeah.
Can you push to get the second one, but also within pushing to get the second one, can you make sure that you keep this 1-0 advantage? And we mentioned it in the open, we mentioned it throughout the first half. What has plagued Miami FC throughout the season is second half performances.
'63rd minute, Miami 1, Monterey Bay nothing. Frankie Lopez, a little tap-in goal here in the second half. 48th minute to be exact. Gonzalez is near the 18, just outside the box. Fair. Lottie. Knutson heads it away. Joy Desart loose with it. Miami FC feeling a little bit of heat from Monterey Bay, and deservedly so. Martinez kept it afloat. Shot's going to be on goal, easy enough for Nadia to handle.
Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value.
64th minute, shot on target for Siaha.
For Jordan Stewart and his side, talked about some of that pressure that you put on teams above you in the standings if you pick up 3 points. But conversely, teams above you, when they see you drop points from a match like this, it almost gives them that belief where, hey, you tell your team, you pick up 3 points tonight, as we know Orange County is hosting Las Vegas later tonight. I mean, you have Orange County that's tied with Monterey Bay. Like, you put yourself in 3 points and start kind of distancing yourself from below that playoff line and putting yourself comfortably in some playoff positions. That's important for teams.
Only a handful of games left in the regular season, so points are at a extreme premium. Donor.
And with that said, Monterey Bay, in about 3 weeks' time, are hosting Orange County SC, so that's going to be a big determining factor for what the standings look like at that point. But before that, you have San Antonio and you have Las Vegas. So you got to take care of those points, because by the time you get to Orange County, as you mentioned, you only have a handful of games left.
Now Lati trying to split two defenders, can't. Xavi in some disgust.
And the argument and the pressure from Monterey Bay forcing contact inside the box continues, as you see Knutson making contact on that ball. But you've seen it from the dribble and drive from Gutierrez. You've seen it from Michael Gonzalez as soon as he came on. His first impact on the match was what Monterey Bay felt like was a foul from Nadie. Now Nalati, clever dribble inside the 18-yard box, and it's going to be where you want to force the referee into those decisions.
Miami FC, and along with the rest of Monterey Bay, quick breather for them. 67th minute. Miami FC getting on the board here in the second half. Show you how this all happened with Frankie Lopez. We rewind it.
As you mentioned, just a few minutes into the second half, we were wondering how Miami FC was going to come out with that player up, and definitely came out firing and playing on that front foot. And what first contact by Knutson, the awareness by Cardona to get a touch on it and stop Siaha from picking that up clean. And Frank Lopez doing Frank Lopez things, being in a position where he can just poke that ball into the back of the net, and puts his 7th goal of the season away, leads the side with those 7 goals. Has 3 assists on the season as well.
Do you feel like if you're Miami FC and you can score another goal here, you'll break the will of Monterey Bay for the rest of the night? Monterey Bay is playing hard despite down a player. Lati here. Recollects. Feeds it over on the left-hand side. Shot hit a body, a redirect. Oh man, that almost caromed in. I'll be fair, never a bad time to take a shot.
I think the argument now for Monterey Bay is, where did it hit off Knutson? Good chance there by Moby Fair. And I'm not saying that Miami FC in any way is going to get frustrated now, but you do have to start wondering where some of these open spaces are coming from as you're a player up. You know, in that sequence, Monterey Bay was almost casually able to bring the ball up. Obviously, there was one ball that broke quite a few lines of pressure, but besides that, it took a while before Miami FC was able to apply pressure onto Nalati, and then still giving up the opportunity to Moby Fair from distance.
Alan Gavilanes hit a goal post early on. Frankie Lopez scored here in the second half. Gavilanes had his jersey tugged, no call. Veteran move there by Kai Green. Gavilanes had his jersey tugged just a little bit that kept him from retrieving that ball cleanly. Martinez. Green survey. 70th minute. Wide angle, nice defense. Barbier there to disrupt it. Barbier. Kai Green again. Apparently no hand contact. Siaha all the way out of his net.
And we're not there yet, but I would dare to say with about 10 minutes left, Monterey Bay, you're just going to throw caution to the wind, because at this point, 1-0 loss is the same as a 2-0 loss. It's picking up 0 points. So at this point, yes, you're a player down, but you're just going to throw numbers forward. So for Miami FC, are they going to be prepared to absorb that? We've seen some tough defeats and tough results here for Miami FC. I mean, that late loss to Lou City about mid-season, that late PK that they conceded. So they're going to have some scenarios for Monterey Bay that they're going to continue to clip this ball in the box, continue to try to get numbers committed, maybe earn a set piece like this. You can treat this as a corner.
Changes here for Miami FC. Junior Palacios coming into the contest. Daniel Barbier done for the night. Michael Lawrence. I think this is a great play by Antonio Nocerino to sub out Lawrence. He's on yellow. Only player for Miami FC that's in that dangerous spot. Mujib Morano going to come in for him.
And both these players, Barbier and Lawrence, putting in incredible shifts for Miami FC and Antonio Nocerino. Michael Lawrence asking so many different questions of this Monterey Bay back line. And Barbier, the ability to defend some of those tough 1v1 duels.
Max Glasser coming into the contest. DA, the right hand out. Glasser's only appeared in 3 matches so far this year for Monterey Bay. A large body of work. Glasser, the header. See everyone pressing forward for Monterey Bay now, Eric.
Yeah, and I know statistics can be difficult because every game has a story of its own. So you know, but statistics do tell a story. They do tell you trends. They tell you how a season has unfolded. And when you're Monterey Bay and you're a player down and you're playing Miami FC, who have only 8 points on the season thus far, Miami FC has only recorded 1 clean sheet.
Yeah.
And that was the first game of the season in that 2-0 win over Colorado Springs. So you talk about the 64 goals conceded for Miami FC, but you also look at the inability to keep clean sheets. And for Miami FC, tremendous opportunity tonight and right now to write that story and get back on keeping a clean sheet. But for Monterey Bay, that's why you just keep the belief. You keep playing front-footed. You keep playing positive. Don't get overly frustrated. This is a team that, other than besides 1 game, has conceded a goal in every single game that they've played, other than that opener.
Antonio Nocerino has to be careful. Martinez. 75th minute. Conclusion of this match, we'll have our Cricket Wireless man of the match. A couple questions who that might be. Collision here. Morano wins it. Palacios just came into the contest, so he's a little warm.
Do want to point out the we talked about in the first half, this almost being the most complete performance that we've seen from Miami FC this season. What a performance by Ndie.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back to the first half, the save on Gutierrez, that dribble inside the 18 and putting together a thunderous strike that forces Ndie into that save to his right. And we've seen him have to punch out a couple set pieces and free kicks that were in dangerous areas. He's made some of the difficult saves seem routine, controlled his box really well, played out of the back consistently. You got to imagine that he's going to continue to be vital to Miami FC tonight, to keeping this scoreline and holding this 1-0 advantage. He's probably going to have to make one or two more big saves.
Yeah. Monterey Bay desperate for an equalizer. I feel like if they get a goal here, they'll park the bus and then hold on for dear life. Donor trying to manage, gets it back. One of the more gut-wrenching draws for Miami this year. They led Loudoun United at home 2-0 and then surrendered 2 second-half goals to play to a 2-2 draw. I feel like in this instance, if Monterey Bay equalizes, it'll be another moral deflating moment for Miami.
And we mentioned it earlier, the steep climb that Miami FC have in terms of the possibility of making a playoff push, but a draw or a loss dim those hopes completely. So you talk about how it would be demoralizing from the standpoint of conceding this late and a player up, but also pretty much finish off those hopes. And now with 8 games left and the slate that they have, I mean, you turn around and you're at New Mexico United. The difficulty that it's been for teams to go into the lab and play and get a result there has been difficult all season.
Ooh, headshot to Gavilanes.
Looks like Maury Donor just tries to play this bounce pass back to Siaha. Gavilanes right in that space. Looks like he's fine to continue. It does look like he's going to have to come off to begin this sequence.
Slow turnover. Lopez not in any kind of mood to press forward with it. A little strange.
Yeah, you don't know if he was aware that Gavilanes was already able to re-enter, so he might have had that far side runner. And you talk about the push that Monterey Bay is going to have in his final moments. Where does Miami FC find that balance of being conservative and not pushing too many numbers forward, as you mentioned with Frank Lopez bringing that ball right back as they dispossessed Monterey Bay. And then do they push for a second goal at this point?
Jerry Ione picked up second yellow card in the first half. That's why Monterey Bay is playing a man down. Glasser.
Michael!
Martinez, Guzman, all been quiet so far for Monterey Bay. Yes, they've been somewhat trying to attack, but they just, feels like tonight they lack the killer instinct.
Yeah, and missing Tristan Traeger is a big part of that.
Yeah, it's huge.
When you have that presence that can not only do it with the ball at his feet and create his own shot, but can do it in the air, can be that physical presence in the hold-up play and getting numbers forward. That's been a challenge for Monterey Bay, and you saw the shift to Alex Dixon in that central attacking role. They mentioned it. They just have not been able to flip that switch.
Martinez on the corner, back post. Couple players that were lurking for Monterey Bay, but good cleanup back. Palacios was there along with Cardona.
And this is where you would want to see, you're going to see Monterey Bay very lively. This is going to be no build-up play. You've worked on these set pieces. They're scripted. You know the movement. You know some of the areas that you want to deny.
Not good placement at all.
Yeah, you need delivery to beat that first defender.
A lot of shenanigans going on right now. Just not much anything worthwhile for Monterey Bay here late in the second half. Maybe we see Anton Siaha creep up. Gonzalez, Martinez, Kai Green. Gutierrez will take this. Corner, again a line drive. Just back-to-back situations for him. Poor on both.
Yeah, and then this is going to be the fourth corner within this same sequence. And unfortunately, you've only seen one of those deliveries. It's something that created a chance for Monterey Bay. So you're going to want to get that delivery cleaned up, as now they're switching sides.
Martinez, opposite way, and a DA skies up for it.
Mentioned it in the first half that the chances that Monterey Bay were generating, but they just weren't. I mean, you mentioned it, the killer instinct. Their wide play and their services and their crosses were just not of high quality, where they were picking out runners, they were manipulating time and space to allow those to develop. And it's been, yes, they're a player down, but they've still had some of those wide services, and even on these set pieces, these corner kicks, they just have not had that delivery. That last one being right in the airspace of Nadie, who can easily go up, meet it at its highest point.
Yeah.
And nothing dangerous. No traffic around him that he's had to fight through.
Lopez's goal in the 48th minute has been standing up since. Oddly enough, Miami really hasn't had a good scoring opportunity since then. Granted, they don't need to get a second goal, but you'd love to have an insurance marker.
Yeah, the only opportunity that sticks out is that one-on-one with Gavilanes and Siaha, that Siaha comes off his line and intervenes there to keep it at 1-0, but you're absolutely right. You haven't seen that sustained pressure that maybe we thought we were going to see with Miami FC being a player up. But when you score just a few minutes in the second half,
yeah,
you know, how much do you feel like you have to push to find that second one? but we hear coaches say it throughout the season, and when you have the calls with them and get in week to week, is this is sometimes, most of the time, this is a 2-goal league. You need 2 goals, as we see the DA just juggling it in his own 18-yard box. So finding a new creative way to see time come off the clock. Sometimes as a coach, your heart sputters just a bit when you see that.
If Mike Clev had 2 wins this year, I don't know if I'd be doing that if I was a keeper, you know? Glasser in a foot race with Matrano, but Alejandro pushed this thing out of bounds. Alejandro seeing nearly 2,000 minutes so far this season. Gutierrez, sharp angle. Nowhere in sight for a teammate. Here comes Miami FC on a counter. They have numbers, and now the good transition from Monterey Bay. Palacios and Morano were the 2 changes. Cabral.
And that was another example, sorry. That was another example with Gutierrez there on the end line of some of the decision-making that we've seen in those wide half spaces for Monterey Bay. You go up and powerful, and you overshoot all of the numbers that you have inside the 6-yard box, where you could probably go low and powerful, and your team is either getting a touch or maybe you get a fortunate bounce off a Miami FC defender.
Take a peek at this again for Morey Donor.
We were speaking just a few moments ago about Miami FC not necessarily generating the opportunities here in the second half other than the goal, but what they have done a really good job of is managing this match and managing this second half. So we saw that foul from Morey Donor and seeing precious time come off the clock. This is where Miami FC has done a good job of managing restarts, not just clipping it forward and bringing it right back. As we're gonna see.
Yellow card for delay.
Even on that direct ball from Nadia, pinning Monterey Bay into a difficult, challenging area where they've got a deep throw in. Now for Miami FC, you can collectively climb the field, put numbers around the ball, try to keep this ball down here for a few minutes. Even on this first challenge.
Nice job by Morana. It goes right to Siaha, though, and Siaha immediately gonna pick up the tempo. Probably not the best decision by Morana. We'll check on our 4th official to see how much stoppage time we get. I'm gonna guess 6 minutes. Is that fair?
Yeah, because we had the stoppage for Michael Lawrence for a bit here in the second half. I would say 6 or 7. I'd be right there with you.
All right. Gutierrez.
With some of the fouls that we've seen throughout this half as well.
Yeah. Players jostling for positioning. Donor. Monterey Bay playing down a player, so the ability to separate the field and open up some space, not available. Not anymore, anyway. Kai Green. Green has not recorded a point so far this year. Donor has a couple helpers. Feed behind him, it goes right to Miami FC. Into the 90th minute. player down for Miami FC. Who's this? There's no contact, just looked like a player went down. Oh, it's Gabriel Cabral. Cramp.
The work that Cabral and Desart have done tonight, disrupting. It looks like we're both wrong.
Went over the showcase showdown.
Guess technically we might be right after all said and done.
Yeah, that's true.
In terms of what is added
yeah.
to this end, as we see Cabral walking there at midfield and obviously feeling something's not right, and
could be just completely dehydrated. That's my guess.
Had to cover a lot of ground tonight, and mentioned the work that he and Desart are doing in front of that back line, and paid dividends and been beneficial. Change this match.
Shots in this contest, 16-8 in favor of Miami. Oddly enough, I don't remember the last time they've had an expected goals for better than the opposition. They're at 1.94. Monterey Bay is at 0.24. Granted, that's because they're down a player. But Miami doesn't care. Any chance to spoil the season for Monterey Bay, they'll take it. So 5 minutes of stoppage time. Martinez, and this will be a corner. They haven't executed well on that side of the pitch.
I was gonna say, okay, now you earn yourself a corner kick. You have to make sure the delivery is detailed and it clears that first defender. You have players like that right there. Kai Green, he has been synonymous with being somebody that gets on the end and makes first contact on these deliveries.
Line drive delivery like Gutierrez again, and just poor. Can't say anything else but that. The chip, oh, it almost found Gavilanes. It would have been a clean breakaway. Lopez had no lift on that ball, though.
Good delay there by Grant Robinson. Dropping, and understanding the moment that he could step and intervene.
Morano with a good job holding his ground. A little slow on the backtrack. Glasser fighting for it. It's going to be a corner.
And this is where they've gotten better delivery from this side. It's left-footed in-swinger. But now you've got to make sure that you either put traffic around. Now you're going to go right-footed out-swinger.
A whiff by numerous players.
And that was better by Gutierrez, though. But now you just don't have anybody at the end of it on the far post.
Asking for a handball. Palacios was the one in front of it. Miami FC trying to seal the deal here with a goal. Palacios will take a shot. Blocked. Miami FC perfectly content to bleed this clock.
Well, that's where I've questioned the bit of this last 10 minutes of the game management. You saw the delivery by Marana about at the 85th, 86th minute, and then now the desire to try to go for goal where you only have a minute or so left of this match. Why not go to the corner, see this game out, see a couple more precious time come off the clock, possibly earn yourself a corner kick, but now you're gonna have to deal with
crossing through Cardona there. Final moments, can Miami hang on? even up a player. Feels like they're walking on a tightrope. That ball had some eyes when it went through near the 6. Green trying to turn. Donor here, nice chip. Guzman gave it back. Donor, back post. Monterey Bay trying to keep this in, they do. Good pressure here. Closing seconds, headed out. Shot not gonna come. Guzman corkscrews that. It goes wide of the net. And for Miami FC, they have not won a match since April the 27th. 2 wins this year, 21 losses, and 2 draws.
And I talked about those 1-goal margins, that those 10 of those 21 losses have been by 1 goal. Those fine margins, and tonight, so far, if this scoreline holds, they've found a way to flip that script.
And it will be at least 6 minutes of stoppage time. So we were accurate.
Yeah. See if we can get Monterey Bay gets one more attacking sequence.
Glasser gave it away, and this should do it. Lopez, if I'm him, I'd just turn and fire this the other way, but Green takes him out. Glasser. Now, it was only 5 minutes of stoppage time. This rate feels like Monterey Bay is given all the time in the world to get an equalizer. And now, for the first time in 4 months, Monterey Bay gives Miami FC their first victory in what feels like forever. A 17-match winless streak comes to a halt thanks to playing up a player, and for Antonio Nocerino, he'll take it. Miami FC wins 1-0.
Yeah, and a proud performance from this Miami FC side. They've absorbed a lot of early pressure, but they did it only allowing access for Monterey Bay in and around the box. No clear-cut opportunities. Nadia did have to make that one big save at 0-0 on Gutierrez, but besides that, this was a well-managed game for Miami FC and Antonio Nocerino's side. Monterey Bay picks up the double yellow, the red card in the first half, and early in the second half, they take full advantage, get that goal by Frankie Lopez, and Monterey Bay, we talked about it throughout the night, we're just not able to find that switch to flip and to find that urgency in the final third. They did a lot of possession, had a lot of the ball, but just nothing in front of frame.
Take a look at our Cricket Wireless man of the match in Frankie Lopez. The hero tonight in the 48th minute. Take us through it, Eric.
And doing what goal scorers do, being opportunistic, poaching in that moment, finding that pocket of space. That first contact from Knutson is massive. And then the awareness of Cardona to get this right-footed poke past Siaha. And then Frank Lopez there to put it away and put away what eventually becomes the game winner here.
First win in 4 months for Miami FC, and the first win of the year for Kadim Nadia. Second clean sheet on the year for Miami FC, and they pull off an upset here at home. They beat Monterey Bay by a final score of 1-0.
Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. That's $2,000 more than it's worth at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight. Over 2,000 Toyotas are in stock and on their way to Toyota of Hollywood. Get our lowest price on every Toyota, including Corolla, Camry, Highlander, Tacoma, and RAV4. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,975. We'll pay you up to $2,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. That's $2,000 more than it's worth at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Back here live at Pitbull Stadium with the good luck charm, Eric Dobransky. I haven't experienced this in quite a while, Eric. It was the first win for Miami in 4 months.
4 months, I mean, and you just go back to the fight and the battle within Miami FC. You knew that it wasn't going to come easy, especially against a Monterey Bay side that is sitting just below the playoff line, so all to play for. And here early on, they absorbed pressure, but Michael Lawrence, this shot from distance, forcing Siaha into a difficult save to his left. But this is where Gutierrez was dangerous throughout the night. His dribble and drive, finding that space, finding that pocket, forcing the DA into a save at 0-0. So this changes, and then Gutierrez again on the drive. A little bit of havoc here in the box, and then Michael Lawrence first to this ball, and Ione, who was already playing on a yellow card, picks up his second, is sent off with the red. And this being towards the end of the first half, where both teams got to experience being a player up and a player down, and then making adjustments at halftime. And then this ball stung off the left foot of Gavilanes, and this is where you could see momentum shift. And we all wondered, can Miami FC sustain it? And the answer was yes. They came out playing on the front foot, earned an early corner kick, and then this opportunistic nature. The first contact for Knutson, the touch by Cardona, and then the finish by Frank Lopez puts the team up 1-0, and that's all they needed to finish up this game. You see 17 shots for Miami FC, 7 on target, and just goes to show you Monterey Bay still owning the possession battle. But 10 shots, 2 on target. They just were not able to break through that 18-yard box and create anything dangerous.
And a heartbreaking loss for Monterey Bay. They now fall to 10th in the Western Conference. Still a tie with Phoenix Rising in Orange County, C, but on the outside looking in. And for Miami FC, their first win in forever. They snap a 17-match winless streak, and they win here tonight, pulling out the upset 1-0. Frank Lopez with the goal. They improve their record to 3-21-2 for Monterey Bay. They fall to 7-12-7. For my broadcast partner, Eric Dobransky, I'm David Gascon. Hope you enjoyed this one. Miami wins it 1-0 over Monterey Bay. Have a wonderful night, everyone. So long.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.